So for this video with 5.8b, so we are solving quadratic equations by the quadratic formula with a calculator. So our objective here is to evaluate approximate solutions of quadratic equations using a calculator. So what we did in the previous lesson was we found exact solutions. I mean, anytime you have it in fractional form, that is an actual exact solution, like 2/3 and 0.67. Well, 2/3 is exact. 0.67 is approximate because it is a rounded version of 2/3, okay? So that's what we're actually going to do here. So let's, just to review, quadratic formula is the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a. You guys would probably really enjoy using the calculator for this. It does go a little bit quicker. And so let's take a peek at our number 1. I have 8n squared minus 4n equals 18. Just like in the previous lesson, I do need to get it set equal to 0. So A is 8, B is -4, and C is -18. So now I need to actually, I need to go ahead and substitute into the quadratic formula. So the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a. Okay? So, what I'm now going to do, truly, okay, I'm going to take out my handy dandy calculator, and having that nice graphing calculator where you can type, remember if you type in the alpha button, which is usually green on your calculator, like the top left, and then the y equals, which is the top left, you end up getting, you're able to choose a fraction of numerator and denominator, which I do recommend. And then in your numerator, you can literally just type this in as you see it. And then in your denominator, you can type that in. Now, you have to do first, and what I'll usually do is I'll identify it, the adding one and the subtracting one, okay? So that way, because you can't just say plus or minus and they're going to give you both answers, okay? So you have to do the adding, type it all in with the adding, press enter, okay? So do all of that. Type it in with the adding, press enter. Rounded to the 100th, that's where we're going to round, you should get 1.77. If you did not, you type something in wrong. Make sure that you put the negative signs where the negatives go. Like this is a negative sign, that is a negative sign kind of deal, because your calculator needs to know the difference between a negative and a subtraction sign. Like here, this needs to be a subtraction sign there. All the other signs should be negative signs. Okay? Now, so that you can save yourself the pain and torture of retyping it all, if you press the second button and the enter button, everything should just reappear, everything that you just typed, okay? And then you can take your arrow button, arrow left, and then up, and then go over where you're highlighting over the plus sign that you wrote and replace it, like literally the blinking thing should be highlighting over that. And you will want to replace it with the minus sign, not the negative sign, but the minus sign, okay? And then once you've replaced that plus sign with a minus sign, press enter, and you get -1.27. So that is what x ends up equaling. X equals 1.77 and -1.27. So if you need any help with typing it into the calculator or whatever, just let me know. I'd be happy to help you in class. to be able to go over how to actually utilize the calculator to type it. Okay, I've got one more problem just to try out, just to kind of be comfortable with this. So I get 9x squared minus 11, equals 6x. And so I am going to make sure that it is set equal to 0. So then I'm going to, A is 9, B is -6, C is -11. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute it in. The opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared, minus 4 times A times, times C, all over 2A. Okay, that's 2 times 9 there. Okay. Again, you can press your alpha y equals to get your fraction. Type in your numerator with adding first. I recommend always doing adding and then subtracting, or you can do subtracting and then adding, but I just recommend just stay consistent in what you do. Okay, and then move to your denominator and type in 2 times 9, and then you're adding. When you press enter, you should get 1.49. If you did not, you type something in wrong. Okay, if you're still having trouble, please see me so that way I can help you out. And then again, if you press second enter on your graphing calculator, everything that you just typed will reappear and you can edit it. So take your cursor, go left and then up, and you'll probably have to go left again to get so it blinks over the plus sign. It should be blinking over the plus sign, and then you just type in the minus sign and it should replace it. Okay, and then press enter there and you should get -0.82. So that actually, you're going to love it. That actually concludes the lesson for this, because everything else is the same. It's just getting comfortable with using that calculator, because that is what you will have to end up doing. Okay, so that wraps this one up.